Hey, it's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
So glad we could catch up with this guy, Alan White of Mount Pisgah and Johns Creek. He is the family life pastor there. He spells his name A-L-A-N, which is the same way Jesus spells it, not A-L-L-E-N. Alan, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
We just found out he was the 13th apostle or disciple, or what the 13th apostle, and we're blessed to be in your presence, Alan.
We're picking a little bit on Alan, but we appreciate you guys over there and what you're doing. We want to talk about the Good Friday service and the Easter service. First, I know that you're, and you have quite a staff there. I was on the website this morning, and by far yours is the best picture, Alan. I just want to tell you that right up front. But family, what's that?
It's the photography. We have a really good camera.
But family life, for those that don't know, family life pastor, what exactly does a family life pastor do?
I think it's become a new role in churches where it's kind of what you get on the end of the job description and everything else, right? So it ends up being a bit of an umbrella ministry. So for me, it goes from birth through college ministry and parenting, which is obviously a wide swath, but really all of our babies, elementary schoolers, middle schoolers, high schoolers, college kids, and all of their parents kind of fall into that umbrella. And thankfully, I've got a team of 10 staff that lead those areas. So I'm not doing that by myself, but that's kind of the umbrella that I'm responsible for, along with our 11 a.m. contemporary service.
Now, since obviously every time we talk to somebody from a church, we talk about since COVID started and how you're having to do things. How have you guys adjusted and how are you handling things there at Mount Pisgah?
I think we're in a rhythm now. I was just talking with one of our staff right before I logged on to this. And right when we first started, it did feel like doing ministry with our hands tied behind our back, especially in our children's and student ministry, because those are just so tactile. Kids are on Zoom all day and Teams all day for school that by the time they got to the afternoon, as much as they love their student pastors, they're kind of thinking, I'm really tired of looking at the screen. So once we got to late last summer and we're able to at least do parking lot gatherings and things outside and distanced and masks and all those things, at least it added back in a little bit of that tactile normalcy. And so now we've just been able to kind of add layers on top of that, kind of while keeping all of the COVID protocols in place. So it feels like we're on an upward trajectory now versus obviously for 6 to 9 months. It felt like, man, we just got to just got to keep doing the work,
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone we've spoken with, no matter what denomination, the same challenges, and everybody's pretty much working together here and just trying to figure out. And I hate to say the new normal because it's not a new normal, but just the way to just kind of flow with it, go with the punches. Which brings up this: here we are, Good Friday coming up, Easter. I mean, honestly, that's what the Super Bowl of church services, basically throughout the year. How are you guys doing on that? What's your plans? Some folks doing outdoor stuff, kind of indoor, depending on the weather. But what are you guys up to?
We are doing a hybrid for Holy Week because we do have families. We've been in person, I guess, since mid-September. We started coming back to in-person worship, and we're spaced out in our sanctuary, and we're blessed with a big enough building to hold a good number of people and still space them out and wear masks. And so for the families that feel comfortable being in the room, our 9:30 and 11 o'clock services on Easter Sunday will be in the room as they normally are. So we have a traditional service that happens at 9:30, and then we have a contemporary service that I'll be preaching at actually on Easter Sunday. That's our contemporary service that will be in person as well as online. And so that'll kind of give the normalcy of really what we do week to week, because some people have settled into the streaming online for their families really, really works. And then you have people that really want to be in the room together and be able to kind of feel the space. And so those will go on as normal, but I'm excited about our Good Friday service and our sunrise service because both of those will be outdoors. And so that really creates this in-between model of, okay, I don't really feel comfortable being in the building yet in an enclosed space where I know I'm going to have to possibly sit, within 10 feet of somebody else. But I do want to be physically on campus, especially for a special week like Good Friday and Easter, to feel like I am around the body of Christ during this really momentous occasion that we have in the Christian calendar every year. And so the two outdoor services will be different stylistically, but really the purpose of that is to create a way that families, parents with little kids can come outside. And if little Johnny is screaming the whole time, it's just a parking lot, not gonna hurt anything. Yeah. So I'm excited about that. If there's one thing that's COVID's given us, it's the freedom to experiment with things that we always put on the whiteboard and never put into reality. And so we talked about doing outdoor worship services for probably a couple of years. And when we looked at Good Friday, we said, what a perfect time for us to gather outside together. We're actually going to take communion at the beginning of the service, really to kind of lean back into Maundy Thursday and kind of begin with teaching on Maundy Thursday and where are we in really the last week of Christ. And we've got these little individual, communion packets that have a wafer and a little plastic thing, so we can hand those in a COVID way. Yeah. So we'll start the service with that, and then it's going to be really, really heavy on the worship element of the service. There'll be a Good Friday message, but it's going to be really worship heavy in terms of kind of the schedule of the service, again, because it's been so long for a lot of people since they've been around live worship and been able to express themselves in a worshipful way along with other people. And so the great thing is we'll be in our front parking lot, and so especially for people that are a bit still kind of worried in a COVID sense, they can park all the way at the back and be 50 yards away from anybody. They may not be able to see anybody, but they'll be able to hear and at least feel like they're a part of what's happening that night.
We're talking to Alan White. Now, Alan, for those who may not know anything or much about Mount Pisgah, tell us about the heart of Mount Pisgah Church.
Yeah, we're a Methodist church in the Johns Creek, Alpharetta area. And I would say if there's something that we're definitely a community church. Where we pull our congregation from is very much from this local area. And so we have a lot of involvement in our local schools and a lot of our local outreach organizations like North Fulton Community Charities. And so that's probably the thing that we're known for most, is probably being a church that's in the community, and then probably being known as a family church because we have so many different generations. We have everything, from birth to senior adults, and there's different ministry programs and areas that they engage with each other. We've definitely become much more multi and intergenerational over the past year or so, and COVID's helped and hurt that in a little bit of ways. But for example, we confirmed 35 confirmation students last week, 6th graders. Mm-hmm. And the neat thing is, in between our traditional service and the service where they were confirmed, the contemporary, a lot of the older members of our congregation came out and prayed over their stoles that we give to the confirmand. So even in small ways like that, there's kind of this interwoven intergenerational family church appeal, and then really just kind of being a positive presence in our local community.
Alan White, Mount Pisgah. You can go to mountpisgah.org. Spell Mount, if you will, not MT, because somebody else will get that email, or you'll go somewhere else. We don't want you to do that. The Good Friday service, the Easter service. What time did you say your contemporary service is? I caught the 9:30 and 11. When was the contemporary service?
The 11 o'clock is the contemporary service.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
and you're preaching the 11.
Correct. I'll preach at the 11 o'clock contemporary service on Easter Sunday. So that can be streamed online or come in person. The big thing is, if you come in person, you do need to pre-register from a COVID contact tracing perspective. We need that for Good Friday, the sunrise service, the 9:30 service, and the 11. We're asking for everyone to pre-register on the website. We've got plenty of space, so come on. But we do want to be able to do our due diligence and contact tracing and just making sure we know who's here from a COVID safe perspective.
Can you give us a little sneak peek of what you're going to talk about at the 11 o'clock there, Alan?
Just a little line. Come on.
That's right. Death does not win. I think in the past year, it feels like all of the negative things and despair, and you just think about outside of COVID, everything else that's been going on in our country for the past year, all of those things feel like they're triumphing at times. And you've got to imagine that the disciples huddled in the upper room felt like maybe death won and took their guy. And so when Jesus rises from the dead, we see that death doesn't get to win, which means all of these other things like despair and loneliness and brokenness, those things don't get to win either. So excited about him.
We're hoping that, obviously Easter 2020 was streaming for most, if not all churches. 2021, I think there's going to be a lot of people chomping at the bit to get back and celebrate Easter almost like we used to back in the day. So don't forget, if you want to go, that you need to register. And if you want to do the parking lot thing, that's pretty cool. And also the streaming, which a lot of folks are doing. I know our church, we decided to invest in some hefty cameras so that, I mean, there's a community that's out there watching and they're just not ready to come back, or they may never come back. They may just stay online. So
the new model of church.
Yeah, that's it. Alan White. Alan, what a great time to talk to you. We appreciate you. We'd love to catch up with you again. You can go to mountpisgah.org and don't forget to spell Mount on pisgah.org. Check it out. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.